All right. So what I got today here is I bought this. This was the cheapest test indicator I could find on Amazon. It's a tenths indicator, or 10 thousandths of an inch. So each line is half a 10 thousandth. So it's an extremely sensitive indicator. And what I want to do is I want to check it against this little guy, which lives in this little test indicator. But we're going to check this, and this is the pretty much the same deal, except each division is, I didn't notice that before, but each division is 0.001, whereas each division on here is 0.005. So yeah, a little bit lower resolution, but I want to see how good this thing is, if it's any good, or if it's way out there. Additionally, let me get all this out of the way and I'll talk you through the setup. All right, so I got the vise on the mill here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the indicators off the post back here, and we'll check the straightness of this jaw. Which is how I set up the vise most of the time anyway. Normally I start with this guy, which is plus or minus a thousandth. Each notch is a thousandth. And then once I get close, once I get this guy to pretty much zero out, I'll usually switch to... Once I get close, I will switch to this guy, which is the guy that I already showed you. The Mitutoyo, and I'm usually happy if I'm within half a thousandth is good enough for me. This is a 6-inch vise, so jaws are 6 inches wide, so that's good enough. Usually if I'm under half a thousandth, I call that good enough for what I do. All right, so what I've already done is I've gone ahead and probed in either end of the jaw. And what we're going to do is we're going to work off the center of the jaw, and we'll take measurements every inch or so to see what we get. So I'm going to show you the DRO so you kind of get an idea of where we're at, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's the DRO. What we've got is the x-axis, which is this way. So the table moving this way and this way. And what I've done is I've set the 0 point at the center of the jaw. And what we're going to do is we're going to touch off about every inch. We'll start at 0. We'll zero this out at the center point of the jaw, and then we'll touch off every inch. And I'll show you what I did down here as we're doing it. So what I'll do is I'm going to zero out the table. And these Chinese DROs, these are actually set up for metric. So sometimes you get a weird rounding thing. See, if we switch to millimeters here, it's zeroed out. But you get a weird rounding thing where when you switch to inches, you can't get it directly on 0. You're going to be off by a tenth. So, it's a tenth. I don't think I can get that accurate anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch off on the center of the jaw here, and we'll zero out the y-axis. And I've got the z-axis locked out for this whole thing. So hopefully it's pretty much the same. And I'll show you what I'm doing on the center. All right, and I usually kind of do like a best of 3 type of deal. All right, there's 0. Yeah, 2/10. All right, so we're zeroed out. So what you'll see, for those of you who've never used one of these or are new to this whole thing, you'll see it run true for a second, which tells us we're pretty much right there. And then once it kicks off, you're on the, that's the center, I guess. So that's the edge. So there's the edge right there, and we're reading 2/10 off. So I'm going to call that good enough. All right, now that I've done that, quit wiggling. Now that I've done that, I'm going to scoot an inch in each direction. We'll do 1 inch and 2 inches, and we'll see what everything comes out to be. Yeah, so that's dead nuts on. There it is kicking out, and we're reading 0.2, negative 0.2, 0.10 of an inch on the DRO. So that's pretty good, and that's at 1 inch off on the x-axis. So I'm going to take measurements at -1 and -2 and +2, and we'll make a little chart and see what we get. Alright, so creeping up on it really slowly until we see it run true. Yep, a little too fast. Alright, it's running true. And yeah, point 0.00020 on the DRO. So there you go. Alright, so real quick, just to run through the results. X and Y at 0, we were reading zeros all the way across. At -1 inches on the X, zeros all the way across. +1, we're minus plus 0.02. -2, we're at 0.20, and at +2, we're at 0.59. So it looks like the jaw is, well, I mean, that's just noise in the measurements. That doesn't really tell us anything. So, I mean, we're well within a 0.005 of being true. According to the DRO, which I'm going to assume is probably the most accurate way I have to measure down here. So we'll meet you back at the mill. All right, so here's the setup. I got both of these pretty close to zeroed. Well, zeroed. They're both on 0.4. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sweep across the jaw and see if really I'm interested to see how accurate this guy is. I mean, it shouldn't be off by much. I mean, the whole jaw was out by less than 0.005. So to give you some sense of scale, from 3 to 4 is 0.005 on this guy, and in between two divisions, so 0 to 5 on this guy is 0.005. So halfway between two of those is a 0.005. So I'm gonna scoot the jaw all the way this way. Okay. And I'm gonna tweak this guy just a little bit. And of course, these are kind of a relative measuring tool. It's not really an absolute measurement because you're kind of at an angle and it's dependent upon, you know, how the thing is contacting. It's more of a relative motion type of thing. All right, and this guy's fairly consistent with what we were getting on the DRO. We're about 0.005 high on that side. A little drug baggy. And I don't think I saw this guy move. I'm going to go back the other way and see if this guy even moved. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it moved a little bit. Well, we'll have to see. I'll have to use this guy for a year or so for various things and see how it does. But nice little addition. I'll have to get another stand for it because it's kind of annoying having to swap these things around all the time. But anyway, thanks for watching.